If the goal is to have enough money in your future that you don't have to work, how are you going about achieving that? Everyone is doing it this way. And spoiler alert, it's the wrong way. So here's what happens. Go to work. You earn an income. However you do it. And before you see anything, you're paying income taxes, CPP, deductions, all that happens. And you get a smaller portion of what you earn. And from that, you've got to cover all of life's expenses. Do you own a home? You got a mortgage, likely. Or you rent. You have a car, insurance, you have kids, programs, dog, clothes, groceries. All this stuff takes away and chips away at what you were left with. This is why, by the way, over 47% of Canadians actually live paycheck to paycheck. It's so hard to have anything left over after you cover all those costs. But let's just say you figured out a way to be left with more than zero after paying for all that kind of stuff. Right? So you got this little amount. We're going to call it your savings. And if our goal was to make a big enough pile of cash that we can live off that in the future, well, we have this little small amount in savings, and so we've got to try and grow that. And we do this thing called investing. I get asked all the time, hey, Donny, what should I invest in? I've got a couple bucks. What should I invest in? Where should I invest? And we consistently talk about investing. Let's break down why we talk about it and talk about, does it actually work? Investing means you're putting your money towards an asset that's going to grow in value, right? You don't know for a fact that it will, but you're playing the odds. You're playing with chances. If you're right, it does well, your money grows, right? And the amount that it grows by, called the return. So when comparing one asset or one investment to another investment, we tend to always go back to what is the rate of return. And we are generally more excited about higher rates of return. So chasing high rates of return, and we're hoping that a high rate of return is going to compensate for the fact that we have this little amount of savings that we invested. We're trying to apply a big percentage number to this to get to a really big number at some point in the future. For clarity here, when I researched how much people are actually saving, they're saving less than 5%. Even if you can somehow manage to double that and save 10%, if you're pulling in $5,000, $10,000 a month in income, even at $10,000, 10% is $1,000 a month. In a year, it's $12,000. You're trying to turn $12,000 into a big number. And as you age and the window's getting shorter and shorter for how long you have to make that number grow into a really big number, we're looking at a wrong number. We're looking at the small number, and that's not where we should be focusing on. There's an even bigger problem with doing it this way. Those investments we're putting our money into that we have no idea whether or not it's going to go up or down. We think it's going to go up, but we don't actually know. We're hoping that it's going to happen. And in hoping, we've created a strategy of our financial future that is baked with hope. So we're doing all this stuff and we're getting by and we're saving where we can to be able to invest, only to put all that money that's left over into hope, an actual hope strategy. And we're doing it this way because that's exactly the system that we have. It has been communicated over and over again. This is the way to prosperity. It actually did work for the generation before mine and the one before that. They had a chance. Our numbers are so out of whack, but we haven't adapted ourselves. We're still playing in the system that worked for them. Nobody is going to be rich off of what I just described, unless you get really lucky and you got something that really shot through the roof. Okay? So why are we doing it that way? Let's just take a step back and say, what else could I have done to achieve the results that I want? Okay, go back to the beginning. What do we want? What we want is to be able to know with certainty that I will have enough money in the future to stop working. I can live off of this pile. Okay, so if we know that's the outcome we're going for, why are we working with a system that was grandfathered? Why aren't we considering other ways of doing this? instead of hoping that what I'm going to invest in is going to do well, why don't I just take that and say, this is what I want. I also want to avoid like paying taxes on growth. I also want to have no market volatility. I want this to only ever go up. I don't want to be caught with bad timing, for example. Like we could put all the goals that we have into this little bundle, this beautiful little bundle, put it into a package and make it someone else's obligation to deliver that to us at some point in the future. This is a certain outcome, not a hope outcome. This is obligation, contracted outcome. The point is this, we don't have to do it the way we have been doing it just because we have been doing it that way. And bless our parents, it worked for them. They knew that to work. It doesn't work anymore. I have this ongoing fear that motivates me to continue to talk about this kind of stuff is I know when this generation or the one around me or your generation gets to 60, 70 years old and you actually look at where your balances are and what life costs at that time, and you're going to realize you don't have it figured out still, that you're not going to be okay. And by that time, it's too late to do anything about it. Now you got to take really big swings and go even more deeper into hope just to have a decent outcome. We don't need to do that. We can base our goals in a contract and make it somebody else's obligation to deliver. And that's what I do. I know this sounds like a sales pitcher. It's not meant to be, but that's exactly what I do. Is I talk to people about how do we create this, because it's absolutely available. People are doing this. The certainty that it's provided is completely astounding. And when people have this discussion with me, it's always, why didn't I know about this sooner? Why isn't everyone doing it? A lot of people are doing it. Why you didn't know about it? I don't know. It's not easy to digest what I talk about in a 1-minute Instagram video. It's got to be a discussion. It has to be a talk. It takes time, it takes patience, and breaking things down. Point is this, remember, obligation beats returns every time. The certainty and the calm that comes from putting all that pressure on somebody else to deliver those results for you is actually priceless. And that's how you can become wealth up.